I'm here for the forecast, the crystal forecast for the next week. I first want to start off with a message that I received from my guides in the beginning of May. It was actually on May 1st, and since that time, every time I've shared it with somebody, they found it to be very informative and resonates very well with them. So I wanted to share that message with you as well before I do the crystal forecast. Basically, as of May 1st, what has happened energetically is that there has been a division that has been drawn between the old paradigm and the new paradigm. So the old paradigm is anything that is based out of fear. The new paradigm is everything based out of love. So if you're familiar with Rumi, if you're familiar with the Beatles, you will be familiar with the phrase that there is only love or fear to choose from. Every action stems from one of those emotions. It's either stemming from a place of love or stemming from a place of fear. It's up to us how we choose to live our lives. So now that there's this energetic division between the old paradigm and the new paradigm that many people are feeling, people have the choice of what they're consciously going to do. Are they consciously going to be living this new paradigm and making it so that their lives are in this paradigm? And by living in this paradigm, you don't have to drop everything and let everything go, but you start to act out of your heart in all actions that you take as best as you can at that time, and gradually your life turns into this heart-centered practice. Or you can go into the fear. Now, what has happened over the past 6 months, it was a really intense past 6 months for people because May 1st was kind of like a marker in the energetic scale, if that makes sense. And for the last 6 months, everybody's had shit hitting the fan. It's been crazy. Everybody has relationships that are ending or starting. If they're not able to evolve to the next level, then the relationships are sliding. Jobs, people are getting fired from. People are leaving their jobs because of crazy things so that they can go and do their heart's work and live out of a place of love. And people are starting to really come into this space of this system doesn't work. Why are we living in this system that doesn't work and that promotes all this fear? And also what was happening in the last 6 months is everybody was having to deal with their shit, whatever their shit was. They have to deal with their major fears. They have to learn how to transmute these fears and these energies that they have inside themselves that no longer serve. And so as long as you've done all your work in those last 6 months, or most of your work in your last 6 months, what's going to happen for the next 4 months is there's going to be a time period of where all the seeds that you've planted are going to come into fruition. And you're going to have a chance to plant more seeds that are going to just evolve you higher energetically and on an evolutionary scale. And so it's like right now and in the past, people have been choosing between fear and love, and they just bounce back and forth. They're just like this all the time. And it's no longer that way. It's now a choice. Are you going to live out of love? Or are you going to live out of fear? What kind of life do you want to live? And the people who live in fear, you always have the opportunity to go into the love-filled paradigm. You always have the opportunity. But people who are living in love are no longer going to be coming down into the fear space. And people who live in love are no longer interested in the fear space. They're like, we have been transmuting this and we will continue to transmute this as the planet needs, but we no longer feel the draw to participate in any sort of fear. So once they feel that fear, they just move on with life. They're like, well, this is good. I transmute a little bit of it, but I don't want to be around it. And they just move on. So there's that clear division of lifestyle that's now starting to happen. So that's my message for that. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can always email me. And I am now going to start the crystal forecast for today. Oh, and by the way, I did find a mic, but I am totally not a technology person. So I pulled it out of the package just in time to do this recording, and I found out I needed to charge it, so I will have it next week for you. You will be able to hear me next week. Okay, so first we're going to start off with the card that I pulled. And the crystal card that we have is Black Onyx, Grounded Self-Awareness. And this card is really important because last week the energies were really intense. There was a lot of energy that was just moving around. I know that I spent half the week in a very ungrounded place, and so much so on Monday that I I was surprised that I had a body when I was playing around with some black tourmaline, but I think it was the moldavite water that did it, so I'm not sure how much it was astrologically influenced. But it's really, really, really important right now that we are grounding our self-awareness, because what is happening is our bodies are going through an activation process, and we need to be grounding and anchoring in these energies on the planet. That's what we're here to do, and that's what we're here to be. And so people who are those, I heard somebody, I think it was Lee Harris, say that the light bearers, the people who are the light bearers, who are holding in those activations, who are anchoring those energies on the planet, it's really, really important for us to stay grounded, because the energies will be really easily lift us up, and they will just, we will be so high and we will be so ungrounded. So it's important to be doing a daily practice of grounding, and whatever your daily practice is right now, and just being aware of where you are, because the more ungrounded we get, the less aware we are on the planet, on the physical, and that's what we need right now. We are in human form to experience this physical, so we have to be here. As much as it's fun to go up there, you can do that occasionally, but we really need these energies anchored on the planet right now. That's what part of our work is doing. So I'm going to choose one of these crystals, and we'll do the crystal forecast. The first thing that I see is the Seven of Spades, which to me talks about career and work situations. Seven to me feels like a number of change. It's a solid number, but there's also the element of change to it. It's like there's been a decision that's been made, and yet we still need to be open to the changes of that decision. And how I relate that to our forecast is that that's what our week is going to be like, especially in the workforce. I feel that there is a lot of changes happening in the workforce. There's a lot of people who are making transitions in the workforce, and this week will probably be a very big week for that. And it again comes down to, why are we doing this work? Are we doing this from a heart space, or are we doing this from a fear space? Are we scared that we're not going to make ends meet when we don't have it? And why, this is going to be a side tangent, but why do we pay rent? We don't need to pay to live on the frickin' planet that supports us, that gives us birth, that it just doesn't make any sense. So anyways, that's an aside note, side tangent, maybe one day you'll hear it. But it's just, it's hard when you step into a heart space fully for the first little bit, because you don't know where anything's going to come, but it does come. It always comes, and it's okay to start thinking about those transitions. It's okay to start going into the heart space and making those transitions for work and career and work-life balance from that heart space, because I feel like many people are wanting to do that and are desiring to do that, but you don't know where to start. Well, the first place to start is that heart, and it is figuring out, what do I actually want my work-life balance to look like? How many hours a week do I want to work? How much money do I actually need to make? And how can I make that happen doing things that I love, doing things that I have a talent for? How does this work? There's also going to be shifts in the money system this week. Not really sure what the crystal is talking about with that, but I see a paradigm shift coming in the next few months for a lot of people. And I see that a lot of this esoteric stuff, a lot of this way of life is going to be hitting mass consciousness soon. And it's going to be very, very awesome. It's going to be a big shift, because we're getting into that division. And so everybody needs to be pulled up. And that's happening. I feel this motion of pulling up, and I feel like anyone who starts to walk, like I feel like humanity is coming together for everybody, and there's this community. And this week, the community is going to be really hard. People are going to be seeing the community inside their lives. They're going to be witnessing the community, and there's going to be this motion of pulling up. So people are going to be experiencing being pulled up, and they're going to also be pulling up other people with them throughout this week. That's going to be really big inside mass consciousness. Other than that, the crystal just says, pay attention to your feet. Just keep grounded. Let the energy shift around you. And just recognize that sometimes we need space, and we're going to take it. And that's perfectly okay. And it's way better to take the space while you're still healthy than making it so that your body has to get sick for you to take that space. And stay grounded. Focus on your feet. And that's all I got for this week's crystal reading. So this week was May 9th to May 16th. Not very good at math. That's okay. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.